All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to unpack one of the most effective, most organized, and frankly, most feared fighting forces in all of history, the incredible Roman legion.
You know, it's a question that people have asked for centuries. How on earth did a single city, Rome, manage to build an empire that just swallowed up most of the known world and then lasted for hundreds and hundreds of years?
Well, a huge part of the answer is right here, the Roman legion. This wasn't just an army, it was a highly organized, super disciplined, and absolutely relentless engine of conquest.
To really get a handle on Rome, you have to understand its army. We're not talking about a ragtag group of farmers called up for a single fight. No, this was a force of professional soldiers who basically dedicated their lives to the military. Let's see how they did it.
So what exactly is a legion? Well, think of it as the main building block of the Roman army. It was a massive unit, usually several thousand soldiers strong. And these were Roman citizens who signed up for long-term service. It was a career, their full-time job.
To see why the legion was so incredibly effective, we're going to pop the hood and see how it was put together. We're going to break this machine down, from the biggest divisions right down to the guy on the ground.
And this right here shows their absolute genius for organization. A huge legion was broken down into smaller, much more manageable units. So one legion had 10 cohorts. Each of those cohorts had 6 centuries. This whole structure made the army incredibly flexible, letting commanders move troops around the battlefield with amazing precision.
Now, here's a fun little fact. You hear the word century, and you automatically think 100, right? Makes sense. But actually, a Roman century was usually made up of about 80 soldiers, and the guy leading them was one of the most important people on the battlefield.
And that leader was the centurion. These guys were the backbone of the army. They were veteran officers who had literally fought their way up through the ranks. They were tough, they were experienced, and they were in charge of the day-to-day discipline of their men, often with a vine stick to prove it. They led from the front, and their soldiers respected them for it.
So, what did it actually take to become one of these soldiers, a legionary? Let me tell you, it was a life of unbelievable hardship, constant training, and just iron-willed discipline.
Let's start with their gear. Every single soldier had a standard kit. You had a helmet and breastplate for protection, this huge rectangular shield called a scutum, 2 heavy-throwing spears called pila, and of course, the famous short sword, the gladius, which was absolutely perfect for close-up fighting. Even their sandals, the caliga, were military-grade, with iron hobnails on the bottom for grip.
And get this, all of that gear, plus their own supplies for the road, weighed in at about 60 pounds. Just try to imagine carrying that much weight with you everywhere you went.
The daily routine was just brutal. A standard day might include a 20-mile march, which they were expected to cover in just 5 hours. And when they got to the end of that march, no rest, they immediately started building a fully fortified camp. We're talking a ditch, a wall, the whole thing, to keep them safe every single night.
All right, so all that gear, all that training, all that discipline, it was all designed for one purpose: to completely dominate in battle. So let's look at the brilliant tactics they used to win over and over again. Their main battle plan was called the triplex aces, or the 3-line formation. It was genius. The youngest, less experienced soldiers went in the front line. Behind them, you had a second line of more experienced guys. If the front line got tired, they could just pull back, and the second line would surge forward, totally fresh. And the third line? Those were the elite veterans, held in reserve to deliver the knockout blow at just the right moment.
And of course, we have to talk about the famous testudo, the tortoise formation. Soldiers would bunch up, lock their shields together, the front rank forming a shield wall, and the guys behind holding their shields over their heads. This created an armored shell, just like a tortoise, that was almost impossible for arrows or spears to get through, and let them march right up to enemy walls, totally protected.
So what held this whole incredible machine together? Unbreakable discipline. And it was enforced by a system of extreme rewards and even more extreme punishments. If you showed amazing bravery, you might get a gold crown, or even a plot of land after 25 years of service. But if you showed cowardice, the punishments were severe. The most infamous was decimation, where 1 in every 10 soldiers in a unit that had failed was executed by his own friends.
But here's what's really interesting. Roman legionaries were so much more than just fighters. They were also master engineers and builders who literally constructed the infrastructure that held the Roman Empire together. Yeah, when these guys weren't fighting, they were building. They're the ones who built the famous Roman roads,
thousands and thousands of miles of them that connected the whole empire. They built bridges, forts, massive aqueducts to bring water to cities. They even engineered huge siege weapons like catapults to smash down enemy walls.
The legion's impact is, well, it's still with us. You can still see some of the roads they built today. Their language, Latin, became the foundation for languages like Spanish, French, and Italian. And their super-organized military structure became a blueprint for modern armies all over the world. The legion is still a symbol of power and efficiency.
So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What is the Legion's most powerful legacy? Was it their unbreakable discipline, their brilliant battlefield tactics, or their incredible skill as engineers? It's a legacy that is absolutely worth thinking about.